Hey, what's up, guys? Today I'm going to talk about how I took out a $100,000 credit card to buy a house. I'm going to go over a really powerful tool that real estate investors use to buy houses called a HELOC, or Home Equity Line of Credit. So, just to give you some background story, I bought my first house in 2016 for $262,000. About 4 years later, in 2019, the house appreciated to $318,000, which gave me $56,000 in equity. And not only that, I reinvested the cash flow I had on the house into the house, and I aggressively paid down the mortgage. So I had over $100,000 in equity on the house. That come 2019, I wanted to buy a fourth house, but I was kind of strapped on cash. That's when I called around some bankers, and one banker, he told me that, hey, you can use this thing called a HELOC, which allows you to take out equity from your house to put a down payment on the house you want to buy now. So I, did some research on this HELOC, and I realized this is actually one of the best tools that real estate investors can use to put down payments on houses and really leverage their money. So basically, a HELOC, or home equity line of credit, is like a credit card in that you can take out money against the equity on the house, using the house as a collateral. Meaning, if you didn't pay the credit card interest rate, they could potentially foreclose on the house. So that's just something to watch out for. The interest rate that I got on the house was 6.7%. The interest rate is calculated by using the something called a federal prime rate. Right now, the federal prime rate is 4.75%, and it's a variable rate that the Federal Reserve sets each year. And basically, the bank that you borrow from will tack on a little bit of interest on top of the federal prime rate, and that's the rate you pay. So for me, I pay 6.7% interest when I borrow money against the equity of the house. So let's just take an example of how to actually calculate how much you're paying in interest. And normally for HELOC, you can have an option of just paying the interest payment every month. So to calculate a daily interest payment, let's just take $30,000. 30,000 times 6.7% divided by 365 days will give you your daily interest rate, which happens to be $5.50. If I were to calculate the monthly rate, you just multiply that by 30, and that's $170 per month. This is a relatively low interest rate compared to using private equity loans or hard money loans. 6.7% versus like 8 to 12% for the hard money loans. And this is great because you have access to the cash. So the pros of this is you have access to your equity. You basically make your equity liquid into liquid cash, and you have that flexibility where you can borrow against it or pay it down whenever you want on a day-to-day basis. The other great thing about a HELOC, and I think this is one of the best things, is that there's no real fees associated with taking one out other than an appraisal fee, which is around $500 to reappraise your house. Other than that, there's no closing costs or no other fees. The cons of this, of course, some people might consider 6.7% a relatively high interest rate. But for me, it made sense because I took out 80,000 for my first house, put it as a down payment on my fourth house, and I was making cash on cash returns on the fourth house of about 14%. So, I making 14% return on investment on the equity that I borrowed for 6.7%, and basically I pocket that difference in return on investment. And so for me, it made a lot of sense. I was able to buy my fourth house earlier. I was able to use more leverage, which means a higher return on investment. Um, and it gave me that flexibility on the house. So for a lot of people, a lot of real estate investors, this is a very great tool to use. And that's it for today, guys. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, please comment below. I'll be releasing a video or doing a live stream on my Facebook group every week. I'll put the Facebook link in the description. And thank you guys for watching this video.